Hey everyone, task 3 this week is talking about measures of spread. So you might want to have a new tab open beside you so you can work with the website that you're going to be looking at in a second, and also your calculator. So today we're talking about variance and standard deviation, and also the first word here that we're looking at is the range. So the range is the difference between the highest and lowest value in your data. Between highest and lowest value in your data. So basically you do the highest number, subtract the lowest number, and you get your range. Another way that we can put this is also max subtract min, whatever helps you remember it. The variance and standard deviation, these are called the measures of spread of the values in your data set. So they tell you how spread out are your values. How spread out are your values? And they also tell you if it's a bigger number, that means it's a bigger distance from the mean, from the average. So this part right here is kind of important there. The greater the number is, the greater the distance of the data values are from the mean, from the average. So what I want you to do is go to this website. You can click on the link. It's on the blank lesson that I posted. I have a screenshot of it below, but it might be helpful for you to try it out. Basically, we could calculate all of these things by hand, but it's very tedious, and I think with this distance learning, it's better to understand why we're doing it rather than do all the calculations and not have any idea of why you're doing it. So I'd rather you go on this website and input these numbers. You can copy and paste those, or just type them all in, just like I have down below, right here. So the question is asking you to calculate the range, mean, variance, and standard deviation. The only thing that you don't have right there is the range. So the range, like we said, is max subtract min. So if you look at your data here, we want to find the highest number. It's going to scan through here. It looks to me like the highest number is 230. And we want to subtract the lowest number. So you want to go all the way through. Is it 85? Nope. We found something lower, which is 65. So the range of your data, is 230, subtract 65, and you're left with 165. So that's our range. We got that part down. The rest of the numbers are actually here. So this information here is pretty awesome. This count is telling you how many numbers do you have. You have a total of 12 pieces of data. If you add them all up, look, it gives it to you right here. And the sum, so if you took that sum and divided it by 12, you would get the average or the mean, which is right here. So you don't even need to do any calculations like you did a couple days ago when we went through mean, median, and mode, because it's right here. It's 114.8333. So we got our range, we got our mean, we got our variance. So basically this online calculator is doing a whole bunch of calculations, and it's getting us to this number here, the variance, which is 1,568, which is a large number. And our standard deviation is when you take the square root of this variance number. You could plug it into your calculator to check. And we get 39.6. So this right here is the number that we're looking for to get our standard deviation. So when you are doing your own calculations, those are the exact same spots that you're going to be looking for those 3 pieces of data. Mean, variance, and standard deviation are all here. You definitely want to use this calculator when you do your quiz on Friday. There is a question about standard deviation, and this will be your guide. But the whole point of this is, what does it all mean? So what happens if we put this on a number line? And on this website, you'll see a number line below, and it looks like this. What does it mean? So in the middle here, this yellow dot right there, that's your mean, that's your average, right? That's the point where if you add up all your numbers and divide it by the number of numbers, you get your average. And that 39.6 is actually, your standard deviation is from here to here. That's a distance of 39.6 data units. And same with here. So if we go back here for a second, we're talking about monthly grocery expenses in dollars. So that means that we're looking at a distance of between $39.6 away from the average. So if the mean is $114, that he's spending an average of that much money every month, then two pieces of data, so two of his pieces of data that he collected on how much is he spending, are actually within $39.6 above the average. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of data here, all of those, if you count those up, those fall within $39.6 below the average. So a lot of his pieces of data are falling within this range, within this one standard deviation away from the mean, both higher and lower, which is what you're looking for. You're trying to see how far away are your data points. In this set of data, they're not that far away. They're pretty close. They're within that one standard deviation, so that one kind of section away, whether it's one section higher or one section lower. Then the further away they get, then you see they're not really, they're too spread apart. So this one here would probably be what we call that outlier, because it's really far away from the rest of the data. This one here is probably not an outlier, but it is farther away than one standard deviation below the mean. So it's something to take note of. But for now, it's not really too spread out because most of it is pretty close to the mean. So that's what we're looking for. We're measuring the spread of the data. So not spread like putting on your toast, spread like how spread out are the data? Are they close to each other or not? So I think that this whole, visual here is kind of helpful for you to see. My middle point is the yellow dot, and all the other dots are showing you how far away things are. And this here is giving me like a guideline. Like here's my middle, and I want them to be either less than or greater than the middle. And the closer they are together, then the less spread out they are. But the farther away those dots are, if they're over here and here and here, and outside of those kind of guidelines, then you have a much more spread out data. So I hope that makes sense, and definitely use this website when you're doing the homework practice questions. Good luck.